Well, you've probably seen the ads promising cheap flights or emails saying now's the time to book, but airfare, much more complicated than that. I can attest to that. Tonight, we're breaking down what really drives ticket prices and how travelers can find the best deals. And the man who knows is Julian Kheel, and he is here now. He's an aviation expert and the founder of PointsPath. And for those who don't know, what is PointsPath?
PointsPath is an extension that you put into your browser, Chrome or Safari. When you do a search on Google Flights, one of the most popular places that people search for flights, it adds in all the points prices next to the cash prices, tells you which one is the better deal.
Oh my gosh, that is so important for those of us who have points on various airlines and with our credit cards, and I never know how to maximize those points.
Yeah, exactly. Most people say I can never find flights to use my points on, and even when I do, I can't figure out if I'm getting a good deal. Should I use them? Should I save them for later?
All right, so do you want to dispel any of the myths when it comes to buying airfares and when you buy them? Because we have read over the years that if you buy it late on a Tuesday or, 5 weeks ahead of a 3-day weekend, does any of that matter?
A lot of that advice is old. It made sense back 30, 40 years ago when airlines loaded all their airfares into the computer on one specific day and then they sat there. But today, airfares change by the hour, even by the minute. Buying on a particular day isn't going to make a difference, but traveling on a particular day can make a difference. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are generally lower demand days, and you're going to find cheaper fares. Fridays and Sundays, when business travelers are going back home or getting back out on the road, are the most expensive times.
Yeah, I definitely got stung with that lately when I was going to Denver for CrimeCon. So what about credit card points? Is there a way where you can figure out how best to use them for airfare and other kinds of things as well?
Yeah, the best use of your credit card points is for travel. Changing them to cash back or using them for any sort of products, you're generally going to get less for them. You want to use them for travel. You can use them through your bank's portal, your travel portal, but the best value you'll get is by transferring them to one of your bank's airline or hotel partners. Now, that requires doing a little bit of homework, finding the space, using a tool like PointsPath to do it, because you want to do that in advance before you move your points. But that is where you're going to generally get your best value, and it makes your points more flexible.
I have a feeling, I read this on one of your emails, that people were racing to put their credit card points into Hawaiian Air. Why was that, and is that deal over?
That deal is over. The situation was that because Hawaiian and Alaska recently merged, Amex was a transfer partner of Hawaiian. There was a very brief period where you could transfer from Amex to Hawaiian and then Hawaiian to Alaska. People love Alaska miles because they are very valuable. You can use them on a lot of different partners' non-Alaska flights. For all of their international flights, they have a really good program there. So that's why people were doing it.
Okay, I know this is silly to ask, but if you do not put the PointsPath extension on your search engine,
you should.
You absolutely
it's
should.
Free,
of
too.
course,
yes.
It's free. But my point is that are there sort of, smart steps to take regardless so that you can still figure out when I should be looking at flights? And P.S., does your computer listen to you? Is it going to boost the airfares just because you start searching for an airfare?
Yeah, that's another common myth. Generally, you will find the same airfares regardless of how you're searching. But the key to finding a good fare, whether it's cash or points, is to know generally what that route costs in points or cash. And the way you do that is using some of the technology available today. Tools like Google Flights, where you can say, hey, alert me when this flight goes up or down in price, whether it's points or cash, and see even a history of that airfare for that flight. Then you can say, all right, is the fare I'm looking at a good fare, or should I wait?
And should you be looking for fares way in advance? Is that an advantage or no?
I would say generally 60 to 90 days is a good time to start looking for airfares. But here's one of the few good things that came out of the pandemic. Most airfares today, except for basic economy, can be canceled without a penalty. So I always say find a fare that works for you now, but then don't stop looking for a good deal. If you find a lower price, you can cancel your ticket and rebook at the lower price.
All right. Once again, tell us how to put an extension on our Google search engine.
It's very simple. Go to pointspath.com, click the big button that says download the free extension, Chrome, Safari, Edge. You'll be able to use it right away.
What is the most fun thing you've ever done in trying to find an airfare? In other words, like, are you sort of an impulsive traveler, one who goes, oh, I have a few days off. Where can we go?
I really am, and you know what? The best way to do that is to be open to your destination. A lot of people say, oh, I want to go to this specific place and then try and find a good fare for it. I usually think in reverse. Where can I go for the points or the cash I have, and then find a new destination, find somewhere new you haven't been before.
And you can do that now. It's easy to do that.
Absolutely.
Whereas I don't think it was as easy, you know, many years ago.
It is much easier now. Google Flights has a terrific part of their tool. You can click on the Explore tab there. It'll show you all the different destinations from wherever you are over the next month or 6 months and tell you where you can get a really good deal.
I love this good information. Julian Kheel, thank you so much for joining us. So you can check out PointsPath for the best information about flight deals, and we will be right back.